Call the meeting to order. May I have your attention, please? Let's call the meeting to order. Monday, July the 17th, 2006. This evening we have the invocation by the Reverend Howard Harden from the First Baptist Church of Homestead, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by the Police Explorers and Councilwoman Garner. Would you all please stand?
Our Heavenly Father, we pause to acknowledge your goodness upon us, providence in bringing about the freedoms that we enjoy, and we acknowledge our dependence upon you and our need for your wisdom and guidance. We thank you for these public servants represented here tonight. We ask that you would both bless them and use them as a blessing to the great people of this city. I pray this in Christ's name.
Amen. Amen.
Please join me in pledging allegiance to our great nation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hope, hope, hope. Hope, hope, hope.
You may be seated. Pastor Harden, thank you for stopping by. Thanks to Councilwoman Garner and the Police Explorers. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Warren.
Present.
Vice Mayor Losner.
Here.
Councilwoman Bell. Here. Councilwoman Garner. Here. Councilman Hodge.
Here.
Councilman Porter.
Here.
Councilwoman Walkman.
Councilman Woolman will be here. She's running 15 minutes late. Additions, deletions, or deferrals?
Mr. Mayor, council members, we received a request from Homestead Pavilion to defer their issue to August 7th, so we ask for this issue to be deferred until that time certain.
Moved by Vice Mayor Lawson, a second by Councilwoman Bell. Any comments? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Special presentation, plaque of appreciation presented to Mr. Willie C. Carpenter. Mr. Carpenter, would you come forward? How you doing? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present this award of appreciation to Mr. Carpenter, Mr. Willie Carpenter, who served on the City Homestead General Employee Pension Board for 17 years. And in that 17-year span, he earned about 0.00 cents for his service. If you don't know Mr. Carpenter, he's one of the executive vice presidents of Community Bank of South Florida. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, his expertise was really invaluable to the pension board over the last 17 years. As chair of that board, we went from $3 million many years ago, and there's a portfolio now today of over $30 million. And Mr. Carpenter helped champion that effort to make sure that the portfolio stayed sound and improved every year, and his expertise was just absolutely outstanding. And to have a citizen, someone that is committed to this community, a professional to the nth degree. Mr. Carpenter was always on time at these meetings, even when I was not on time as the chair for 17 years. And I remember the time when I think it was Mayor DeMilly that appointed you to the pension board many, many years ago. And he served with distinction and love for what he was doing. And when you think about people, a lot of times people complain and complain, but never step up to the plate and say, I want to serve, I want to make a contribution. Mr. Carpenter is a different kind of individual. He steps up to the plate, and he's willing to serve, and he's willing to give back to his community. So on behalf of the mayor's office and the vice mayor and the councilman for the city of Homestead, and really Mr. Carpenter, to the people of the city of Homestead, we're indebted to you for your 17 years of service. We appreciate your work, and we appreciate your service. So it is indeed my honor to present to you. Isn't this beautiful? An appreciation to Willie Carpenter for your untiring dedication and contribution to the community. July 2006, the mayor and council of the city of Homestead. Thank you, sir, for your service.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for those nice and kind words. 17 years is a lot of years on me. I remember Tad DeMelli, Steve Shiver, Neil Warren, Alex Muxo. We had some trying times on the board, but we got ourselves through. Proud to say that financially wise, we're very sound, we're in good hands, and I wish the board well. Thank you.
Next, we have a presentation by County Court Judge Bonnie Rippengau, Domestic Violence Division. Bonnie?
Good evening. Thank you very much, Mayor, for inviting me to come down to make a presentation to the council and to the citizens of Homestead. And I'm very, very pleased to be here. As the mayor said, I've been serving the community for 10 years as a judge in the Dade County Court in the Domestic Violence Division, where I preside over cases involving children, families, and people with issues of violence. And I have worked very hard in this community to serve you. Also, as a People's Court judge, I was the judge down in the South Dade Justice Center, one of the judges that worked there for 4 years, and worked also up in North Dade. And I've heard all kinds of cases involving landlord-tenant and contracts and insurance claims and on and on and on. So I feel that I am well qualified to serve you, having been in private practice for 20 years before I became a judge. I founded a program in the south part of the county called Sisters of the Heart. It was a mentoring program for girls at risk who were themselves the victims of domestic violence. 90% of the girls that we mentored had issues of violence in their lives. And that mentoring program continues today, and I'm very honored to say that my work was honored by the Department of Juvenile Justice with the statewide Volunteer of the Year Award, and also in Congress for the work we did with these women and are continuing to do today. And also, I have been involved with the Miami-Dade County Women's Fund, helping women in this community and their families. and also been on the Judicial Education Committee, recognized by my peers as able to teach judges around the state about domestic violence and other legal issues for continuing legal education. So I'm very proud to serve you. I hope that you will continue to support me. I need your vote on September 5th. It's a countywide election, a state judge, and you can vote one judge in each group, and I hope it's me because I really love my job and I really have a lot to do in the community. And my being a judge really assists me in my work with children and families. And I thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to spending more time with you. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members.
Thank you. Yeah. Item 5C is the recognition of the City of Homestead RRS volunteers, and the Vice Mayor will make that presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. Many of you know that for the past few years, the city has partnered with the Internal Revenue Service's VITA program, and VITA stands for Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, to provide free income tax preparation to residents. The program relies upon volunteers to give several hours of their time each week during the tax season. Volunteers are also trained and certified by the IRS prior to that service. Today we recognize the Homestead volunteers for their dedication and hard work. They've given their time and effort and have received and expected nothing in return. And on behalf of the Mayor and Council and this entire community, we want to tonight to express our appreciation to those of you who worked with the residents of this community to help them during tax season. There's Miguel Rodriguez with us tonight, Trudy Ann Duncan, and Wendell Rodriguez. This is Miguel Rodriguez. We have a certificate of appreciation to Miguel A. Rodriguez, recognition of his valuable contributions to the Internal Revenue Service City of Homestead VITA program. On behalf of the Mayor and Council, July 17, 2006. Express our appreciation and our words of gratitude to your colleagues. Will you see Trudy Ann? Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Item 5D is the presentation by Salvage Soil and Water Conservation District. Councilwoman Garner.
Thank you, Mayor. I was contacted by a friend of mine, Sonny Clayton. Some of you might know him as Levy Clayton, and they just have some information they'd like to share with council.
Thank you.
We'll pass that around. Good evening, Mayor Warren, council members, and citizens of Homestead. My name is Morgan Levy. I'm the administrator of the South Dade Soil and Water Conservation District, 1450 North Chrome Avenue in Florida City. I'm here tonight with Sonny Clayton on my right and Robert Perez on my left, who are our mobile irrigation lab. And I request that they first explain the water savings that can be obtained by taking advantage of the free irrigation evaluations that they perform for urban as well as agricultural systems. I would like to reserve time when they are finished to explain how the South Dade Soil and Water Conservation District and the City of Homestead can work together as a conservation partners, saving and preserving our natural resources.
We are so pleased tonight that you all let us make our presentation. I'm a new team member to this organization. This is approximately my third or fourth month working with this organization. This is an organization I really believe in. It's something that we must and shall conserve water and many other things because of the rapid development that is taking place here in the South Dade area, and water is going to become a very, very important commodity now and also in the future. My team leader will talk about some of the things that we are presently doing, which is something free that we do to the public, that a lot of consumers in the immediate area don't know anything about it. So hopefully tonight, when we leave here, the public and also the council, to include the mayor, I briefly met with the mayor and told him some things about it, but we're going to, with the time that we have tonight, make you aware of what we actually do here in the South Dade County area.
Good evening, City of Homestead. I'm Bob Perez, and I am the team leader for the Mobile Irrigation Lab. The Mobile Irrigation Lab is funded by the South Water Management District and the Florida Department of Agriculture. I also want to say that I am a member of the Homestead Air Force Reserve, and I'm part of the community. But what we offer to the community is it's free evaluation of your irrigation systems and an outreach program on water conservation. Dade County is critical. We're at a critical stage of water shortages. We're in very bad shape. And what we want to do is we want to go out there and educate the public free of charge, confidential, and it's free of charge, and how to run the irrigation system efficiently. We go out to your sites, we look, we investigate, we take pressures, we run equipment, we run an ultrasonic flow meter on your piping system, and we determine whether you have leaks to make sure that your irrigation system is running efficiently. Once we collect this data is then put on a spreadsheet, which was then mailed to you individually. And then again, we do it for homeowners, domestics, industries, and schools, or all public entities. Another thing is that we're going around and we're offering to every citizen of Dade County, we're giving them free shower heads and free equipment faucet aerators so they can save waters. These shower heads go from 5 gallons a minute to 2.5 gallons a minute, so it conserves water. And we have one available for every citizen. We are hoping that the City of Homestead will help us set up something where we can distribute these shower heads to every resident of the City of Homestead. We have done it for Florida City, and we have done it to numerous municipalities out in the county. So we're hoping that Homesteads get involved with the program too. Just to give you a short history, in our 16 years of service, we have saved over 4 billion gallons of water. And with 4 billion gallons of water, if a family of 3 consumes 45,000 gallons of water a year, we have saved so much water that you can give water to 87,000 families in 1 year just by using simple things like shower heads and watching your irrigation system. So I hope you can take advantage of our program and give us a call. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, some of you may wonder who these guys are and where do we come from. Well, we're the South Dade Soil and Water Conservation District. We're a governmental subdivision of the state of Florida, created in 1982 by Florida Statute 582.20. Our mission is to be a local leader in implementing conservation programs in the local community to preserve and protect our natural resources for future generations. And that's what I want to emphasize tonight. Our generation has created some serious problems in the environment that we must begin to correct now rather than placing that burden on our children to suffer with and pay for later. Your Soil and Water Conservation District has written a Citizens Conservation Guide. We have provided each of the council members one, and we have enough in our office to pass out to almost the entire city of Homestead if you so desire. We are available to do conservation presentations to school, classrooms, church groups, homeowner associations, any type of group that gets together. We will be available to come and present a conservation program, giving out these free water-saving shower heads and many other good ideas that we can present to you. We have presented proposed memorandum of understanding to Mike Shahada on May 30th between the City of Homestead and the South Dade Soil and Water Conservation District for a conservation partnership that will provide the city with many conservation opportunities in which the city will decide which ones they want to be a part of. There is no obligation on the part of the city to do anything unless they agree to it. Mike has informed us that the MOU is under consideration by Mr. Brea and the city attorneys. So far, we have MOUs signed with Florida City, Miami Gardens, Virginia Gardens, Miami Springs, and Doral. We request that you give this your prompt approval. We have had meetings with City Manager Mike Shahada on May the 1st, 2006, and Julio Brea, Director of Public Works, on May the 18th, on a proposal to save the City of Homestead big money by composting the sludge from their wastewater residual plant with an in-vessel aerobic composter, mixing it with some of your yard waste, composting it on site in only 3 days to create a valuable soil amendment that will be eagerly sought by the agricultural community. With only preliminary information, we have estimated that the approximately $170,000 cost could be paid for in only 1 year by reducing the cost of landfilling the sludge, the cost to transport the sludge to the landfill, plus the income derived from the sale of the finished compost. With accurate information on total amount of sludge that is produced per year at Homestead plant and the quantity of yard waste that is available to mix with the sludge, our district will provide a complete and accurate proposal that will provide the equipment that is required, the cost of the equipment installed and tested, a comparison to the cost of landfilling the sludge, the estimated quantity of finished compost, a soil amendment produced, the bulk sale value of the finished compost. Our district is also prepared to work with the City of Homestead with additional options on the sludge composting proposal. Number one, we would be willing to operate the equipment for the City of Homestead on a fixed fee contract. Or number two, we will market the compost for the City of Homestead for a fee per ton delivered, saving the city from the added work of marketing and delivering the compost to those who will need it. This is not a new process, incidentally. The information that I've provided to the mayor and the council members shows you that this is being done presently all over the United States. We're not reinventing the wheel here. So our district is confident that this in-vessel aerobic composting of sewage sludge and yard waste can save the City of Homestead a great deal more than its present cost just to dispose of the sludge. We request that the city approve the immediate consultations between the Soil and Water Conservation District and the Homestead Public Works Department to determine, number one, the tonnage of sludge available per year, the analysis of the sludge produced, the moisture content of the sludge, the amount of yard waste per year that would be available to add to the sludge, and two others, the South Dade Soil and Water operating the equipment, yes or no, and the Soil and Water Conservation District marketing the compost for the city, yes or no. Within 1 week of receiving this information, our district will present to the City of Homestead, a Public Works Director, a complete and accurate proposal. There are many other ways in which the City of Homestead and our district can work together. Number one, which we've already been doing with some of our conservation partners, a grant to give away 500 earth machines, home composters, to reduce the solid waste stream in Homestead. One family can save 500 pounds of organic waste from going into the waste stream where disposal costs are increasing every year. 500 families could save 125 tons of solid waste from going to the solid waste stream while producing an excellent soil amendment for their own garden. Providing free water-saving shower heads, as you've already heard, our mobile irrigation lab is ready and willing to do this. Establishing a pilot project for both solar energy panels and wind turbine at the Public Works Department to establish the value of promoting more solar energy panels and wind turbines in the city of Homestead. Our district will seek out grants to help pay for such a proposal. A tree planting program to enable Homestead to become a tree city in the United States. We ask you to put our district to work helping the city of Homestead. Call on our mobile irrigation lab to help conserve water. Sign the Memorandum of Understanding for a Conservation Partnership. Establish an in-vessel aerobic composting program for sludge and yard waste, and call the South Dade Soil and Water Conservation for presentations with free giveaways. We owe it to our children and grandchildren. Let's get started. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Council Member, we've been working with Mr. Levy and his group. They're a great group of people to work with. They did present me with the memorandum of understanding. It was reviewed by Public Works and actually was sent to the city attorney. We received comments back today. We are incorporating the city attorney's comments and our comments together, get together with them. I foresee us getting together with them no later than the end of the week for the memorandum of understanding. The issue with the sludge, it's a great idea, but we cannot really just take it lightly. The information is given to our consultants. We're in the process of doing wastewater treatment plant expansion, so it's going to be presented to them. We will be happy to provide them with all the information they need. But my advice to you is not to approve anything tonight without us bringing it back to you and recommending an approval.
Well, the intent was the presentation. There's a committee process that we'll go through before this will come back to the council for any kind of consideration. So.
Thanks, man.
So we wait on the staff through the chairman of the committee to bring back a recommendation.
We will do that.
Thank you all. Thank you, Councilwoman Garner. Item 5E is the presentation by Vision Council on the 2005 Economic Indicator Report.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, I'm Mike Richardson. I'm the president of Vision Council, the Economic Development Corporation that serves the deep south end of Miami-Dade County. Our offices are located, if I get this right, the historic City Hall building at 43 North Chrome Avenue in Homestead. Is that right? I think I got it right.
That's right.
I do have a PowerPoint presentation tonight that summarizes information in an economic indicators report that we compiled for the year 2005. Being over here, it looks like I'm going to need some help with somebody changing slides for me, and I guess if you guys want to see it, you're going to have to move too. I did provide you all a copy of the report and should be at your position in front of you. And for that nice lady that's going to change the slides for me, I should warn you that my computer programmed in some transitions that I didn't intend, so we're probably going to have to hit buttons multiple times to get a full presentation on the screen. All you have to do is pull off the piece of paper in front of the projector, and we'll get started. As I said earlier, we put together this set of economic indicators that provide a broad measurement of economic activity in the South Dade portion of the county. Next slide. One more blip and we should have a header on it. There we go. This represents a project that I've been working on probably since about 1994, 1995, in the aftermath of Hurricane Andrew, when we were trying desperately to find a way to explain to the rest of the state the impact that Hurricane Andrew had on our economy here. And I found at that time it was virtually impossible to do, because while we had lots of anecdotal information, there was no compilation of statistical data that reflected what had happened in the past in Homestead and South Dade's economy and what was happening in the aftermath of Hurricane Andrew. I've been playing with this idea since that time period, and now my job in Vision Council provides a great opportunity to go out and find this information and present it to the community. The big problem we've always run into is that currently, as statistics are presented, we are all lumped in with Miami-Dade County. And we all know that the north end of the county doesn't look anything like the south end of the county. And when you merge the statistics, you can't get any sort of a meaningful look at what's happening in our economy down here. So, we defined what our area of interest, next slide, and basically that is South Dade, south of Southwest 216th Street. Data collection was made easier because that defines 9 zip codes, and we've been able to find data by zip codes to consolidate for our area of interest here. Next slide. Next, yeah, there we go. Again, there we go, and again. Our data sources came from basically 2 sources. Beacon Council, the economic development organization for Miami-Dade County, provides us access to the Dun & Bradstreet report called Marketplace. And our second set of information came from a number of local organizations that gathered data about their own operations, but nobody was consolidating it into any one particular report. I want to particularly express my thanks to both Beacon Council and to all of these organizations that provided me this information so that we could pull it all together. All right, next slide. From Dun & Bradstreet, they gather information basically on the number of businesses, the number of employees, and sales. They display it in a number of different ways, but for a summary chart, this gives you a very good indication of what happened to our economy in the Deep South Dade area in 2005. The 3,852 businesses that Dun & Bradstreet reports on reflects very favorably against the approximately 4,300 business licenses that Miami-Dade County has issued for the same area. That's an 89% report, saying any statistician would be really happy to have an 89% sample size for statistical data. As you can see, the number of businesses increased almost 8%. Employees, almost 2%. Sales were up about 6.2%. I think it's notable to see that our economy in Deep South Dade is worth about $1.5 billion every year. And that's real dollars. That's not economic impact. That doesn't show the rollover fees. Next slide. Now, Dun & Bradstreet takes all of those firms and divides them up into 11 or 12 standard industry codes as outlined here. So we can also get subsets of data for each of the areas of the economy in Deep South Dade. And then in addition to that, we added two additional ones. We'll get to in a minute. But for each of those standard industry codes, we went into the local community to find organizations in those sectors of the economy that were accumulating data that we could use. What we've attempted to do is present 10 years of data in a trend chart format for each of the sectors of business. This particular one, it represents the wholesale trade sector. This is the dollar value of goods sold at the Florida City Farmers Market over the last 10 years. This is just an example. We have multiple ones throughout the whole report that you can look at as you go along. Yeah, next slide. In addition, we added two additional sectors. Actually, they're breakouts of the previous sector. One on military and homeland security, the other on recreation and tourism, because those two sectors play such a large portion in our economy down here, and we thought it was important to be monitoring what was happening in those sectors. Next. So, here's summary data. Agricultural production. We found two measures that we could use. Avocado production, which was up significantly last year. That figure may be a bit misleading in that avocado production typically goes on a 2-year cycle. The previous year had been down significantly. The trees rest a year, then they come back with a heavier production. Nurseries. Interesting here that the only 1.8% increase in certified nurseries perhaps indicates that the recent trend in increases of large numbers of nurseries, the growth of the nursery industry, may be flattening out here and may be an indicator of a transition point in our agricultural community. Going down the line, construction's up, you can see. That's no surprise as we watch all the residences come up. Financial insurance and real estate, we were able to monitor bank deposits at about 17 local branches. Real estate sales and dollar value of real estate sales are up significantly. As you can see, the dollar value is up 105% last year. And thank you, Mayor Warren, for taking our statistics and presenting in your city of or your state of the city report. Next slide. Manufacturing sector was not able to come up with a specific indicator. Our manufacturing sector here is somewhat diverse. The only place that we seem to have any concentration is in the boat building industry. I've been able to locate 6 boat manufacturing firms, Contender Boats being by far and away the largest. Hopefully at some point we can get their production figures, lump them all together and have some indicator there. The base, indicated there, the economic impact of the base was up significantly in 2005 because they were doing about a $20 million improvement to the runways out there. Mining, again, I can't find data, but we certainly have a large mining operation down on Card Sound Road, and hopefully at some time I'll be able to find something from them. Next slide. The non-classified sector is where they throw everything else that they haven't got can't account for, so there's no indicator there. Public administration, we went to the 2 local cities and looked at municipal employees, up. Miami-Dade Public Schools, they haven't opened a new school yet, but still the employees are up. Linda, I know we're hoping to see those change in the near future here. Recreation and tourism, up at TIVA. Visitors at the Everglades National Park was down. They attribute that to the hurricanes last year. And at the Speedway, their number of days of activity was up 2.7%. It's important to note that reflects 267 days of activity at the Speedway. That's well over and above the typical 2 weeks that we see for the major races. It's a very busy site out there. Next slide. Transportation and utilities, we were able to count the number of electrical accounts serviced by FP&L and the city of Homestead. They were up about 7%. Highway traffic count up about 9%. We found Florida Department of Transportation statistics where they have counting points on at 12 different locations on the 3 major highways that serve our area down here, the Turnpike, US 1, and Chrome Avenue. We lump them all together, get a total traffic count across those 12 measuring points. Homestead Airport down slightly, again attributed to the hurricanes this last year. Wholesale trade, the farmers market is probably our largest wholesale trade activity. The number of packages they produced were up as well as the value of the produce. All in all, 2005 was a very positive year for the economy in South Dade. Next slide. To summarize a little bit, the largest sector that we have is the services sector. Of those 3,800 firms that reported, about 1,400, 36% of them are services firms. They employ about 9,500 people. Retail trade is the second largest, and between services and retail, they comprise about 55% of all of the firms in the local area. Next slide. However, based on dollar volume, the wholesale trade sector is our largest dollar volume sector. Wholesale trade is virtually all agricultural products here. You can see that there are a relatively small number of firms, only 6.2% of the total firms in the area, relatively high percent of the employees. They're responsible for $3,680,000,000 worth of trade, followed by services and the agricultural, forestry, and fishing industry. Ag, forestry, and fishing in Dade County is largely agricultural production. That's the growing of the crops. So if you put wholesale together with agriculture, since they are both ag-related, that comes up to be about $600 million and roughly 30% of our entire economy in the deep South Dade area. Agriculture is still king down here, and we need to try to preserve that sector of our economy. Next slide. Our businesses generally are small businesses. 77% have 9 or fewer employees. Next slide. So remember, this is the end of it. Yeah, thank you for your attention. I can tell everybody that the data, the slides are available on our website at www.visioncouncil.com/reports. They're available for viewing. If you would like hard copies of them, we can make them available for a nominal fee. Do you have any questions that you'd like to address to me at this point? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. You did an excellent job. And as you mentioned, I used a lot of it in that presentation on the 27th, so thank you very much for good job. Next is item 5F, Office of the Month for May 2006. Officer John Monaco, Councilman Porter.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, City Council, Mr. Deputy City Manager, I'm Captain Tom Foglia. We have our Officer of the Month, John Monaco. He's our Officer of the Month for May. We also have present Captain Randy Chong, Major Joe Villalonga, Major Scott Kennedy. You may recognize John from a few months ago because he received Officer of the Month then also. Give you a little background on John. He's been with the department for about 12 years. Prior to coming to Homestead, he worked for South Miami Police Department. He was a motorman there. We were very fortunate to get him from the city of South Miami. John's presently in the K-9 division. Years ago, he was also in the Detective Bureau. And his partner's name is King, which is very crucial because he's basically a two-person unit because his dog is one of our excellent K-9s, and he's a great handler. During the month of May, John made a total of 16 arrests. 11 of those were self-initiated, and that's very important. Those are not calls he's dispatched on. Those arrests are
crimes that he finds himself or apprehends himself. So that's great statistics there. He also had 4 canine apprehensions during that month, one of which was in progress. It was a burglary, and him and his partner King were able to get that individual. Give an example of one of the cases. He was advised about a robbery that had just occurred in the city. Perimeter was set up, and he went in there with his partner King. 3 subjects were located. One was hiding in the nearby bushes. 2 others were hiding in adjacent yards. All the subjects were charged in that crime. Great job there. We also had a burglary at Sacred Heart. What happens is when a burglary occurs, you think you have a subject inside the building. The officers maintain a perimeter. John goes in with his dog by himself. He may occasionally have a backup officer with him, but basically he's doing it on his own because he's got his dog with him. In that case, he located a subject hiding in boxes in a closet, and that guy had been rummaging through the church. And the father at the Sacred Heart was very glad that John was there and his dog. He takes great pride in being a canine handler, and to let you know how the Officer Month works, he's nominated by his supervisor. And to paraphrase what his supervisor mentioned in the letter that nominated him, Officer Monaco's enthusiasm and work ethics set an example for his fellow officers. And I think you can see by what he does on the job, it definitely reflects that. And we're glad to have him as a member of the department. And again, Officer of the Month this year, 2nd time. Prior to this year, numerous Officer of the Months. Councilman Porter?
King always gets his man. I just want you to know that. Officer I've seen, years ago I was an employee at Mitchell Hardware, and they used to come in at night, and we would all wait, we would leave, and they would come in and train the dogs, and they would call up and say, okay, we're through training. I said, are you sure you have the dogs out of the building, because we don't want to come back in. But it's amazing to watch. But Officer Monaco, is with great pleasure that I get to stand here and read this list of awards that's been given to you by the business community, local community, and it consists of Awards Inc. is the donation of the plaque. The City Attorney's Office, Weiss and Sirota, is a $100 check. First National Bank of South Florida is a $50 savings bond. Community Bank of South Florida is a $50 savings bond. Tony's Sub and Grill is a free meal of choice. Ferguson's Jewelry is a $75 gift certificate. Ruby Tuesdays is a $20 gift certificate. Global Technology Partners Inc. is a $50 check. Logos of Old Dixie Highway is a $50 gift certificate. Carl Pelt and Sons Goodyear Tires, a $25 value oil change. Dale Blake from Blake Chevrolet is a $300 value tire lube, car detailing. Captain Car Wash is a $20 value car wash. And Nita Jensen from the Homestead Community Concerts is 2 membership tickets. And the plaque reads, presented to K-9 Officer John Monaco for being selected Officer of the Month for May 2006, and you've seen this before.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'd like to first thank God and may all the glory and honor be His. I'd like to thank my whole family for continually supporting me, being here. When we get up, you all can have the fifth row.
Could you all stand up with the family stand, be recognized?
I'd like to thank the business community for continuing to support our Officer of the Month program. I'd like to thank the administration for always being there for us. And Major Villaranga, I told you when you dropped King off to me, I'd make you proud one day. I hope I did. I really appreciate this, and it's not just me that does it. It's my entire squad. So on behalf of my entire Midnight Squad, I accept this award. Thank you.
Porter. The next is unit citation presentation. Councilman Porter.
Mayor, Council, thank you for letting me come up here this evening. I think Major Kennedy might have left us here because he knows I don't speak very often at the podium. Speak slowly and into the microphone. That might be a joke. No, in all seriousness, it's my honor to nominate these supervisors and detectives for a unit citation. Because of the nature of their job, you don't see them very often. And because they work as a team, we don't nominate them for Officer of the Month. But they're very deserving of that award each and every month, and they work very hard, even though, like I said, you do not see them that often. During the budget process last year, I was able to speak with the chief and eventually, through the budget process, convince mayor and council and manager's office to allow us to hire 3 more full-time SIU detectives for the unit. The idea was to try to concentrate on local crimes, not just narcotics, but burglaries, robberies, auto theft, anything that would come up that needed immediate attention, as opposed to the task force jobs, which they were mostly relegated 2 years ago. In January of this year, the supervisors put together a plan. It's called Operation Tap Out. This operation consists of 3 phases. The first one, which we're currently in right now, is a covert phase. The second one is a community participation phase. And finally, the third is a maintenance phase. We hope to be done by the end of the year, but this unit citation is based on the first 6 months of the covert phase. Just to give you an idea of what they've done since January, they have made a total of 234 arrests. 158 of those are felonies. The seizure of 614 grams of cocaine, 90 pounds of marijuana, $11,925 in currency, several firearms, and the seizure of 16 vehicles, some of which are now being used by the unit for undercover operations. In addition to this, they still participate in federal task forces, during which time they have seized approximately $1.3 million in U.S. currency and a total of about $5.3 million in assets. With that being said, it's my honor to nominate them for the unit citation. They're very deserving. And again, thank you for giving me the time to be up here.
The reason why you don't see these guys is they're undercover all the time, and they've been told not to look into the camera, hide off to the side, and I'm not going to read their names. Captain, you want to do anything in particular with this plaque?
Yes, I'm the captain in the Special Investigation Unit, and actually one of our detectives, Lizanne Diggins, out of town, and she's a great asset to the unit. Great group of men and women in the unit. I'm honored to be one of their commanding officers. Joe is my major, and they just do a heck of a job. You can, just by what the major said, they do an incredible job. They're a one-man army over here. So keep up the good work, and I accept this really for them. My name's on here, but these are the ones that do the work. So I'll accept this on their behalf. Thank you.
I just wanted to let the community know that the two majors that used to be captains that are standing behind me right now are 100% solely responsible for that police department running like a well-oiled machine over there. They both have tremendous roles, big shoes to fill. The chief is the chief. These are the guys behind the scenes that make it happen. Had to trick Major Villaronga to get him to the microphone. He doesn't get up here very often, and you did a fine job, Major. You did a fine job. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Porter, let me just, on behalf of the mayor and council, just to publicly thank both majors, Kennedy and Villaronga, and that whole team, Captain, you and that whole team. You make us proud. and just know that you have our support 150% and continue to do a good job. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Item 5H is the 2006 Relay for Life Volunteer Recognition. Councilwoman Woolman.
Congratulations, guys. Give them a moment to, I want to intrude on their victory. They deserve all the recognition. Relay for Life. I've been a part of Relay for Life since the very beginning. And not only as chairperson for several years, but who would have guessed after working so hard for the Cancer Society that I would be stricken with breast cancer. And as a survivor, I was the honorary co-chair this year. I had to step out last year because of medical problems, but this year we had an amazing year. And I really, really, really wanted to take this opportunity to thank my fellow city employees because you rock. They just came out and they formed their committees, and you know, I just hung out with them. I mean, they were wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm not sure of the exact amount. Linda, do you know, wasn't it 100,000 this year? Oh, over 100,000 this year. I know the last time I did it, it was 88,000, and last year we were down a little bit because of everything going on with the hurricanes and different things, but this year we came back strong again, so I'm so very, very happy. The team raised approximately $4,470, and they did that through car washes and bake sales, lunches at the Senior Citizens Club, snow cones. I mean, and the night of the event was just fabulous. And they dressed, our theme was Greece, and they dressed in the 50s theme, and they did it throughout the whole evening. And we danced, and we had a good time. Everybody that was there had a really, really, really good time. So, with that being said, I'd like for the following employees, if they're here tonight, to come forward. Linda Ogden and Christy Rivas, they were our team captains. Is Christy here? No? Oh, Christy did. Christy made all those little pins, you know, that I was shamelessly promoting every time I got the chance, you know, all the, it's my Linda. She did such a good job. She deserves a round of applause. Let me tell you. She's our captain. Excuse me. And she's going to help me pass out some plaques. I'm going to just name everybody because they put in so many hours. Tanya Yelton Norris, and come forward as I announce your name, please. I know there's a lot that's not here tonight, but Jasmine Morales, Jocelyn Campbell, Sheila, our city clerk, Sheila Paul Shedd, Francis Schwartz, Tiffany Billy, our deputy city clerk, who's not here tonight. Patty's filling in for her. Julia Vickers, Maya Perez, Patty Sullivan, Omar Luna, I'm sure Joanna's not here because Joanna's getting ready to have a baby any day now. Although she's still working, I'm sure we're going to have to deliver at City Hall. Michelle Lindquist, Simone Thomas, Marlene's not here tonight either, and Delma Luna. That was kind of like your working team as far as your fundraising and things. Okay, now we're going to go into the logistics. This guy's been with me since day one. Marty, come on up here. Marty Davido. He is the bomb. He is the bomb. He was our chairperson for logistics. And not only this year, but for many years. And I look at him, and he looks at me, and I say, I can't do that. Every event that, after 18, 20 hours, we look at each other and we say, we're not doing this again next year, are we? I'd say that to Marty. He says the same thing back to me, and then we're always here the next year. So I love you, Marty. Thank you so much for everything you do. I'm going to go ahead and list everybody that helped with the setting up of the events and taking down and just so much. Tori Wilburn, Brian O'Connor, Felipe Espino, Archie Wirtz, Milton Bailey. If you're here, come on up. E.J. Donaldson, Leslie Bouvier, William Martinez, Robert Lambden, David Chalker, Pat Posilio, Angel Martinez, Adriana Hernandez, Akeo, I'm going to say that wrong, Shaw, Kurt Heron, my guy, Kurt Heron, Jeff Malley, help me with this one, Linda, Joe Mesquita, is that right? Mesquita. Okay, Dennis Maytan, Raul Rivas, and Mike Hitt. So if any of you are here, and if you're not here, we'll make sure we get your plaques to you. And of course, where would we be in this world without our police explorers? And they're lined up here against the wall. They are fabulous. They never say no. They're there. They help us with everything. So we have a beautiful plaque to go into your new facilities, okay? You're so welcome. Thank you for everything you do. And I mean everything. These kids are the hardest working kids in Homestead. They are everywhere, and I thank you. So with that being said, Linda, I'm going to turn the microphone over to you. Do you know? You sure? I put a seat for the trophy. Okay, good to see you. I should mention Cindy. I better mention Cindy. Oh, no. I'm going to ignore that one. But this one's for Linda, for our captain. And Mr. Porter, will you come up here just for a second, please? Cindy Porter, Councilman Porter's wife, she just stepped in there and she just did her thing. She was our corporate sponsorship chairperson this year, and she worked so very hard. So on behalf of our Relay for Life team, would you accept this, please, for your beautiful wife, Cindy? There you go. And with that being said, I just want to say thank you to all the citizens of Homestead that came out. We had a wonderful time. The field was just loaded. The luminaries were beautiful. My husband doesn't know this yet, but I've been asked to co-chair it again next year. So hopefully we'll all be there again. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. my little trophy. Okay. Anthony's here. All right. Oh, sorry. Vice Mayor.
Please proceed with your presentation of the Safety Award winners.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. It's that time of the year again, time of the month, that we are awarding our winners for the month of July. And the only one that was able to make it tonight, come up here with me, which I am so proud of, and thank you so much for coming, is Anthony Vickers, and he's with our Utilities Department. Joe Skelton and Miguel, how do you say that? I'll get these names right one of these days. They're also winners, but they're not with us tonight. Anthony and the two other gentlemen will be receiving a paid day off, a $25 check from our city attorneys, a City of Homestead safety certificate, a safety badge, a letter from the city manager, a good letter from the city manager, and your name will be posted on the bulletin board at City Hall. And thank you so much, because this award, we sometimes just don't give it the credence that it deserves. But this is a safety record. I mean, this is very important that your record speaks so highly. So, Anthony, would you like to say something?
Just thank you very much for the recognition.
You're so welcome. Take care. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Waldman. Agenda item 6 is the approval of the consent agenda.
I will move it.
We have a motion for approval. Do we have a second on the consent? We have a second. Motion by Councilwoman Bell, second by Councilman Hodge. Any items to be pulled for the consent agenda? Any discussion on the consent agenda? Any public comment on the consent agenda? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Agenda item 7, public hearings, ordinance, land use items. Mr. Attorney?
James says I could read the introduction, but he's going to read the rest.
Okay.
Public hearings, quasi-judicial items. Please be advised that the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment on any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentation on each item. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to be either cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must first present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Section 2-591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications on any items on the agenda. At this time, the clerk will swear in any persons who wish to testify on any quasi-judicial item.
Please stand and raise your right hand. I state your name. Hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Thank you.
Item 7A on your agenda is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting the request of ARMA LLC for a rezoning from G General Use District to R3 Multiple Apartment District, also granting site plan approval for a multifamily development located south of Northeast 11th Street and east of Northeast 6th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, an approximately 2.13 acre site consisting of 21 dwelling units and providing for an effective date. This is first reading.
I open the public hearing. Is there anyone here on behalf of the applicant on this matter? Anyone here on behalf of the applicant on item 7A, tab 13th, ARMA LLC? No one on behalf of the applicant on this matter?
Yes, right there.
Would you wish to make any initial comments on behalf of the applicant? As you state your name and address for the record, please.
For the record, my name is Antonio Rodriguez. I'm the project architect. I'm located at 2315 Northwest 107th Avenue, Miami. Basically, what we have is a 21-unit project for which we're seeking the site plan approval at this time, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from council? Ms. Waldman.
Thank you. I have a question. In somewhere in all these pages, I saw that it was a 1,500 square foot unit.
Yes, that's correct. With a two-car garage.
Right, that was my question.
Fully enclosed two-car garage.
And so the two-car garage is not part of that 1,500 square foot living area. It isn't.
It's included. It's included. No.
It can't. No. I don't think so. Excuse me. It wasn't clear to me what I was reading, so that's why I'm asking you.
I don't have I don't know if the city has a set of plans here. My feeling is that we have more than, we have about 1,200 in the AC area itself.
I couldn't read the architectural plans are so small. Not your fault, it's just,
right,
it's just
the reduction of them.
That I couldn't tell, but, I just know that that's an awful lot of units to put on 2.13 acre. However, I was trying to determine whether that 1,500 square foot included the two-car garage, because the two-car garage, maybe we know over here.
Yes, it's not clear from the package whether or not it's total or living area. It should not be stated if it includes the garage, but it's a very good point, Ms. Waldman. Yeah. While staff is looking for that, Ms. Waldman, did you have any other questions or concerns?
Let's see. Right now, I just wanted to ask staff, right now it's general use. What can go on there right now as general use?
General use is a default zoning classification, so nothing would have to be rezoned to something.
Have to be rezoned. Okay, and they're asking for R3. All right, thank you, Vice Mayor.
Ms. Waldman.
My main question.
I have questions for staff, not for the developer.
Okay. Ms. Bell.
Thank you. Yes, in reading this packet, and I know we're going from general use to MRU, I did take a drive by the site today because I wanted to see what was surrounding this particular site, not just what was on the paper. And I see that this is an area that really just kind of cries out for improvement, an area that really infill lots, if you will. But I really think after taking a look and driving by, it's kind of behind Old Dixie and tucked back. So I'm not concerned as much about the traffic as I am about packing 10 units per square acre on this, plus the pool, plus the gazebo, plus the gate. And I did take a look at it. And actually, the site plan itself is the design of the units look very nice. I don't have a problem with that. And I think that the architecture is very, very well done and will be very, very beneficial to this particular area. But as far as the future land use, that's where my question is, because I want to know how locked in we are to this 10 units per acre. And I know for medium, for MRU, it's up to 10 units. But I would love to see a bit of a reduction, but I did like the architecture of them very, very much. So would you answer that as far as that?
Yes, they meet the minimum requirement. The land use is MRU, which is 10 units per acre. And they're proposing 21.
So the future land use, though, is medium?
Yes.
So they would be conforming with future land use?
Yes.
Okay. So what is our minimum requirement as far as square footage for the housing?
1,100.
It is 11. Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Did we determine whether
I think, staff, you're still trying to determine the answer to Councilwoman Waldman's question as to the total square footage calculation. Did we have that answer?
It does include the garage.
The 1,500 square feet does include the garage, so the actual living area then is 12.
Is the 1,100 and 1,250 or so.
But in reviewing this, staff has determined that the living area meets our minimum square footage.
Absolutely, without a doubt. This applicant has bent over backwards for us and has already gone through the waiver of the Northwest Moratorium. These plans have not changed since the first time we had brought this to council. So absolutely, they meet the minimum requirements. And in fact, when the garage issue was brought up, they were already meeting that qualification. They didn't want to redraw it. They wanted to keep it the way it is.
And every unit, each and every unit, 100% of the units provides for a enclosed two-car garage.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
And just to clarify, because I think we hit around the question earlier, medium density use is up to 10, but not 10. And we have and I guess I'll turn to the attorneys, we have the discretion here in connection with the rezoning and site plan approval request to deny based upon discretion that 7 people do or do not believe there should be 10 units on this parcel. Is that
what your code allows and what your comp plan allows, or your comp plan and the future land use designation for medium density residential, it allows for up to 10 units to the acre or 10 units. Now, that's the maximum upon which you can grant, but that doesn't necessarily mean that someone coming in applying for a zoning category that's implemented by that future land use category gets 10 units. It's your discretion to go less than that if you'd like. You as the legislative body can determine that density.
Thank you. I want to be real clear on that it is up to, and although the applicant may have met all the other hoops that need to be jumped through, there is no requirement for us to approve the full 10 units per acre. Is there anything further from the applicant? No, sir. All right, Mrs. Walden?
Yeah, thank you, Vice Mayor. I have another question. I'm concerned how they're going to fit a pool and green space, and plus the easements and setbacks and any, recreational pool and recreational area, I guess it is, or I'm assuming that's not a clubhouse. Is that a clubhouse? It is a clubhouse.
It's a small, not really clubhouse. It's a gazebo area by the pool with changing areas and restrooms for ladies and men.
How can they do that? How can they put all of that on this small amount of acreage and still have room for the setbacks and parking and sidewalks and? Has that all been accounted for, Ray?
Yes, ma'am, it all has been accounted for. We've gone through this, like Ray said, for over a year. We've gone through with the urban design and everything else. Everything which they are providing is indeed fits within the site at 10 units to the acre. This is an area, an applicant that came in and has, like Ray has mentioned, every time we've asked him for anything additional, starting off with the garages and then leaving the garage, etc., he has accepted those items and come forth with them. The other thing, too, is this is an area that, at least from our perspective, staffs, that this applicant is providing things that you normally would not have in a northwest area because you don't have the PUD requirements for the pool, and that they came forward with the pool as an amenity they were willing to put in to make the thing work, to make it more sellable, plus they just felt it was a good thing to do. They have met everything as far as square footages, setbacks, everything else. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Any further, Ms. Baldwin?
No, sir. Thank you.
Comment? I just wanted to point out, looking at the property, that to the east is eventually going to be the busway, which makes sense that we have the medium residential future land use, because you want your higher units towards the busway, towards our transportation. And having those townhouses there would actually help create a buffer between Old Dixie and the busway and those single-family homes that are to the west. So the families to the west may actually appreciate this little bit of density before you actually get to the busway and all that. So it does make sense to me, and I'm glad you included the pool and the cabana and amenities like that. And, 1,200 square feet may not seem like that much, but that's my unit in Keysgate, and it's big enough for me, so.
Thank you. Do we have a motion on this application?
I'll move for approval.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Porter, second by Councilwoman Garner.
I have another comment.
Councilwoman Bell.
Thank you. I did want to say, too, that in reading this, I did like the product a lot. My concern is always the density, but I do, after driving the area, this is definitely an area that cries out for MRU. I mean, after driving it, I have always been a little uncomfortable going with 10 units, but it's right behind Old Dixie Highway as well. They have, and the reason we were able to squeeze all this in is because it's two-story, so that this is why, because they went vertical. But, I think the developer has gone in this particular situation beyond what they have to do to give us a good product. And I did like the product of this. I had this done, and that's why I have to physically go get in the car and go drive by the area so that I can actually see the neighborhood, what's to the east, to the west, and what's to the south, so I can see that. This is going to be really beneficial to this particular area. If anybody had actually driven and seen it, they would know exactly what I'm talking about. this is the type of development that this type of infill lot kind of cries out for, if you will. So sometimes I really struggle with the 10 units per acre, but I think this is the type of development and the type of units that is perfect for this particular type of infill housing. So I also will support it.
Thank you, Councilwoman Bell. Is there any further public comment? Anyone else in the audience wish to make comment on this application? I'd just like to add that typically I have real difficulty with this level of density. I'm very familiar with this piece of property. I think that many, many years ago, before I was even on council, I had a client that owned this piece of property and had a very difficult time, I think, finding anybody who was even interested in it long before the land boom, and that all transpired long ago, and it is an irregularly shaped piece of property. But I think this applicant's done a really good job in finding a product and a fit for this. And as I said, it's very difficult for me because I do have a hard time getting away conceptually from the packing issue. I think the two-story issue does that. I don't think we've seen any project in the Northwest of some of the ones we've approved that have a pool at all. And not only does it have a pool, it's a gated community. It's going to be almost a little oasis back there. And I want to finally also point out that if this property were one more piece of property to the east, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. It would be adjacent to the busway. It would be entitled, even with the moratorium, would be entitled to go up to 10 units per acre. This falls into exactly what Mr. Stouts and the CRA and we've all talked about, is that you have those density corridors for residents to avail themselves in the future of mass transit. And I think in this particular instance, given all the factors, this is a very commendable project, and against character, I'm going to support it as well. So with that, I'll close the public hearing and ask the clerk to do a roll call vote.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Baldwin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Val?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mayor and Council, as an architect, thank you for the comments.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item 7B.
Company, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 7B is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting the request of Pablo and Maria Medina for a rezoning from G General Use District to R2 1 and 2 Family District for property located at 950 Northeast 14th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date. This is first reading.
I'll move this.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Hodge. Any questions from council? Any comments? If not, I'll open the public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
The applicants here.
Any comments?
Nada.
I do have a question, Staff.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Thank you. I'll address this to staff. To distinguish this between the last application, that was for rezoning and site plan approval. What we have here is only a rezoning. We don't get to talk about how wonderful the planning is and the amenities that are going to be put in place. Now, there was some talk here about maybe there would be 8 total units on this piece of property, but there's nothing that locks us into that. Guess we've got a couple of questions. What's the maximum number of units that we've calculated that could be installed on this property if it's rezoned? And do we get another crack at site plan review in any event?
Yes, sir. At the minimum, you can choose the number of the units. However, they are medium density, which is up to 10. That's the maximum.
Okay.
And because it's proximity to Campbell Drive, and it'll be 10 units, absolutely you will have a crack at it.
So we will have the opportunity to site plan review again.
Yes, sir.
And distinguish, for example, that feature from some of the others we've looked at tonight. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Any other comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Baldwin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 7C is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting the request of Country Gardens LLC for a rezoning from AU Agricultural Use District to R1 One-Family Residential District. Also granting preliminary plat and site plan approval for a single-family residential development located on the west side of Southwest 137th Avenue, Tallahassee Avenue, between theoretical Southwest 300th and 302nd Streets, as legally described in Exhibit A, an approximately 18.7-acre site consisting of 100 single-family dwelling units and providing for an effective date. This is first reading.
Motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Hart, second by Councilwoman Bell. Any initial comments from council?
I have a question of staff.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't see it here in the staff report, and it says 100 homes. I didn't see the exculpatory language about concurrency. Does it not create an issue? I mean, this is 10 blocks away from Campbell Drive that's been the subject of much of our scrutiny. I don't think it's reasonable to say, from a layperson's perspective, that this would not impact Campbell Drive. Are we okay on that concurrency issue?
Yes, they prepared the traffic report, and they are doing some modification to some intersections. One of them is 296 and 137, and the other one was at Campbell and 137. So
this applicant will be contributing toward
yes.
infrastructure improvements. Yes. All right, great. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. This is a public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience?
If I may, Mr. Mayor. On behalf of the applicant, Lyra Batiste with the law firm of Holland & Knight, 701 Brickell, I just wanted to point out two things. First of all, it was brought up at the Planning and Zoning Board by Mr. Vila and Ms. Newman that there were concerns about the possibility of people making a U-turn on Southwest 137th Avenue going into the southbound traffic. We have addressed this issue with the Miami-Dade County Public Works Department, who has jurisdiction over Southwest 137th Avenue. And assuming that the city approves this application, between the time this application is approved and then the final plat that will come back before you, based on our discussions with the county, you may see some revisions to the median on the site plan to prohibit or mitigate any adverse traffic impacts of people going into into the southbound traffic on Southwest 137th Avenue. So that may come before you at the time of final plat, and that, although it won't change the configuration of the site plan, the number of units, it may require us to work with staff on administrative approval of a revised plan to show the different median configuration. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. And the other thing, as it relates to the mitigation for traffic impacts generated by this project, our traffic engineer, Richard Garcia, is here, and it's my understanding, based on the report, that with the appropriate changing of the signalization on the affected intersections, the project can absorb any impacts that it has on the affected roadways.
Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a comment. I also would like to state in reading the packet that the developer also mitigated the school impact as well and went above and beyond what they were required to do with the normal impact fees, and mitigated an additional $170,000 for school impact. And I'd also like to comment, this is low density. We get a lot of projects that are brought before us that are 10, 12, 15 units, especially when we're doing the density averaging in the PUDs. This is less than 6 units to the acre. This is 5 point something or other. This is a development that I absolutely heartily endorse and recommend approval.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Question there. Mr. Porter?
If it's found that the median cut needs to be made and all the improvements that need to be made, the applicant is responsible for those, even though you have to have the authority from the county to do it via the road, the cuts, they would be responsible for the cost of those repairs.
Yes, they are.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You wanted to speak?
Angel Garot, 2214 Northeast 41st Ave in Waterstone, Portofino Estates. This property backs up right to us. Probably going to repeat the same old thing, maybe something new. Back going again to the school situation, I mean, that hasn't changed. It's been spoken over and over again. When Crystal Lakes was approved, remember, the school board voted against that, but it was in the pipe. It was in the pipe. I don't know if this one was in the pipe, and that's why it's moving forward, but the school situation, I don't think has changed. Adding more and more homes, I don't think it's going to help any. Police service, I don't know how the budget is going to be able to handle that, but more than half of the communities in Waterstone 1, mine being one of them, have hired off-duty police to address those issues. And I don't think we should. You know, unfortunately, we have to. And the ones that in our community, Waterstone 1, that haven't hired off-duty police is because their budget just hasn't been in their budget. They just can't afford it. If they could, they would hire it because we got a problem over there. So the police issues one, the school issues another. The traffic, I mean, what am I going to say? You guys spent 4 hours talking to the Homestead Pavilion about the traffic situation. I don't know if that's changed. That site backs up, you know, it's kind of right in Waterstone. It'd be a great place to do something else, even for maybe even the Waterstone community. So I'd hate to see more housing goes there. Real estate, some of you are in real estate, some of the P&Z people are in real estate, but there's been housing declines or value declines in Waterstone already, which are in black and white of 5 and 10%. So I foresee a major problem as far as the housing market, and one of the things that contributes to that is supply and demand, and there's an oversupply of properties on the market in Homestead. And once we see value, well, not once we've seen, I've already seen values decline 5 and 10%. That gets out there, the next thing you know, Homestead properties are going on in value. I mean, you got a major problem. You know, Hurricane Andrew was a big problem, but I mean, this housing problem could create a big problem for the city. And going back to what the mayor said at the State of the Union, at the State of the City, which was very nice. And one of the things I believe you mentioned was the preservation of green space. Am I right on that?
That's correct.
So this would be an example, I think, that, you know, let's preserve that green space. Let's hopefully, you know, I don't think that was campaigning. Hopefully that was the truth in it, and I'd like to see that be shown in today's vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I have a comment?
Councilwoman Bell?
Thank you. Mr. Grote, I really understand what you're saying, and what you're seeing in the market right now is a bit of a correction. But to stand there and to tell somebody that it would be like if you own 20 acres of land and you have your right and you have a particular zoning on that particular property, and then someone tells you you can't develop your property, you can't sell your property, and you can't put houses on it. I have my house and I'm perfectly happy, but you can't sell it and you can't develop it. We have no right to do that. We have no right to tell another property owner, this is about property rights here. These people have complied with everything legally. They have properly applied. They've made the application process. They've done everything properly. They've given us a very low-density project. They've cooperated and done everything they're supposed to do. And you're asking me to say no. Can't do that. It's just like you. If you own your car and I tell you we need to preserve your car so you can't sell it, I can't do that. Can't say that to you. This is no different, Angel. So I just want to be on record to say this is the type of project. You've got your home in Waterstones, and now you're telling me I can't allow someone else to have their home over here. But I am painting a picture for you that I want you to understand, and I want you to see this realistically. I do understand what you're saying. We do have a problem that I promise you is being corrected, is being worked on, and many of the problems will correct themselves, especially with the market. So I wanted to encourage you, but I really wanted just to be realistic and straightforward with you, Angel. Thank you.
And if I can just follow up with one additional comment on the schools. As Councilwoman Bell mentioned, we did make a monetary contribution over and above impact fees, but also there are 2 schools online. One is truly Pesco Elementary, and that school is slated to be completed by October of 2007. The senior high school, which is supposed to provide relief for Homestead senior highs, projected to open in November of 2009. So those schools will be online or completed by the time our project reaches 100% occupancy. So the relief, the first school, the elementary, will have 1,642 student stations, and the high school will have 2,858 student stations. So there is relief on the way. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments before I close the public hearing? Any other public comments? If not, I will close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Rosner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
That concludes the quasi-judicial portion of your agenda. Moving on to 8 legislative matters. 8A, resolutions. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, authorizing the city manager to execute and submit the City of Homestead Community Development Block Grant CDBG Disaster Recovery Initiative Program application to Miami-Dade County and commitment of funding for the project, providing for an effective date.
I'll move that.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell, second by Councilman Hodge. Any questions? Any questions on the resolution? Is this required, Victor, for public hearing? I'll open up just to be on the safe side. I'll open the public hearing. Any comments from the audience on this resolution? Any comments from the audience? Any comments? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rosner?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
No, it doesn't. You're moving very fast. Doesn't slow.
Item A2 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the Housing Assistance Plan, approving for an effective date.
Motion by Councilman Hodge. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Waldman. Any comments?
No question of staff.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. This question is directed to staff. In looking through the housing assistance plan, is this the canned form that every community would substantially adopt, that would be adopting a plan? Or were some of the parameters, let me be specific, talks about that in order to qualify, the household total income must not exceed the low limits set for Section 8 program. What is that level? That seems to be very, very low and would cut out the majority of people who really deserve and need this assistance.
Which page are you referring to?
I'm looking at page 9, paragraph Roman numeral 5A1. Page 9 of the agreement, or the plan.
In the HUD Section 8 housing income limits, what they call low is 80% of the median. That's not the very low 20 or 30% of the median.
So what would that be in real dollars? Must not exceed the low income limit.
Right now, the median income limits in Dade County are $44,000, so it'd be 80% of that, which would be $35,000.
So it's not as low then as it would seem. But again, I guess this is a pretty much standardized plan that would comport with all of the requirements of the funding.
Much of it is, I did try to put our feel on it in a couple of places where it was okay, where it looked to me like it needed to be tweaked to suit our needs. But this, quite frankly, is very close to the plan adopted by the City of Alachua for their community development block grant housing programs that they've been conducting for a number of years.
Now, is this limited to residential structures within the CRA, or is it citywide?
This is citywide.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Weissman. Any other comments? Any comments from the audience? Any comments? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 8B is ordinances. Item 8B1 is a second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 30 zoning, Article 3 District Regulations, Division 13, B3 Liberal Commercial District to clarify uses permitted, amending Article 4 Supplemental District Regulations, Division 8 Special Exceptions to provide that hardware stores of 2,000 square feet or more in size shall be a special exception in the B2 Retail Commercial District, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
I'll move this.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell, is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Second by Councilman Porter. Any initial comments from council before I open the public hearing and initial comments? If not, I'll open the public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
No.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
B2 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, providing for a 12-month extension to the 12-month building moratorium enacted by ordinance number 2005-0731 on issuance of certain development orders and development permits within the Northwest neighborhood, generally located west of US 1 to the western boundary of the city and north of Maury Drive to the northern boundary of the city as shown on Exhibit A, exempting specified single-family detached residential, commercial, office, industrial, and other specified uses, and providing for an effective date. This is first reading.
I'll move it. Second.
Moved by the Vice Mayor, second by
Pick your choice.
Councilman Hodge and Bell.
Question. Joint motion.
Mr. Porter.
This extension is for the full 12 months, or is it up to 12 months? Or if we can get the documentation, everything squared away, could it be before 12 months?
It's up to 12 months. If the regulations become effective before that, it'll automatically dissolve.
Okay, that's what I thought we had talked about earlier. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Any other comments from council? Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Garner? Yes. Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 8B3 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 30 zoning, Article 1 generally, Section 30-1 definitions to amend and create definitions relating to commercial development standards, amending Article 2 administration, Division 2 procedure for zoning amendments, special exception permits, plan unit development submittal, and variances to modify the commercial development application and review process, and to modify the unified site plan review process as applied to commercial developments, amending Article 4 supplemental district regulations to establish new commercial development standards as Division 9 of the City Code of Ordinances, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. This is first reading.
Move for comments, Mayor.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Garner, second by Councilman Porter. Any additional comments from council?
Yes, Mayor.
Ms. Garner?
Thank you. I just wanted to point out this is for all of our new and any projects that are renovated 50% or more. This is very timely as we have a lot of commercial projects coming in, and it's really going to ensure that we have minimum standards to make sure these projects are aesthetically pleasing, they're compatible with the surrounding areas, that they have enough pedestrian and traffic, cross vehicular access, signage, architecture. It covers many things, and it's really good, and it's really important that we do this right now, so I fully support this.
Thank you, Councilwoman Garner. Any other comments from council? Well, I'll open the public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
This is the time for public comments. Any comments from the public at this time? Any comments from the public at this time?
John Burgess, 655 Southeast 30th Drive. Actually, it's from Mr. Shahada. I've been gone, but I've gotten a lot of emails from the residents of East Lake, just wondering how the stoplight is coming down at Campbell and Kingman. We were told back in April it'd be about 3 months, and we're just about 3 months there, and just wondering, don't see a lot of activity down there. Maybe if the city could give somebody a kick in the butt and get them going, because every day it's more and more dangerous.
Mayor, can I respond? I've been harassing them as well, Mr. Burgess. I get complaints too, and I'm stuck there every morning. And Public Works has been diligently working on this. You know, we have to go through the county. It was held up, but they told me just today, because I asked as soon as I got here, it went through the bid process, and I believe the bid was awarded. So we should be seeing it. Yes, it is good news. I believe the plan was already ready to go. It's just they were waiting on the bid. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. The bid was opened last week, and on Tuesday of last week it was approved. So now they're in the 14-day period for protest, and finally we're
That's
getting...
great. I know we'll have a lot of happy residents over there, and it should help the congestion in the morning.
So would you help us spread the word to the
I
residents?
will. Trust me, I get emails every day about it, and I haven't even been in town, and I will start spreading the word as quickly as I can. But thank you, and thanks everybody for the hard work. I know it's the county and not the city.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comments?
We have a line of about 10 people here. My name is Ruth Campbell, 24 Northeast 12th Street, Homestead, Florida. I would like reconsideration of a consent agenda item D2, naming of historic City Hall. I left some papers for you to look at, and unfortunately, I couldn't copy these because they have glass on them, but I want you to, this was the Florida Department of State presents Historic Preservation Acquisition and Development Grant. This was our grant from the state, awarded December 1995 to the old Homestead Town Hall. State of Florida give recognition of its historic significance to the Homestead Town Hall, officially listed in the National Register of Historic Places, effective November 1997. And it's whether it's, of course, this is your decision in your city hall. But I think that it's proper historically for it to be named Historic Town Hall.
Ms. Bell?
Thank you. Well, Mrs. Campbell, if this makes you happy, I'm the one who made the motion to have it be named Historic City Hall, since we had never called our City Hall Town Hall. But as I was walking on the sidewalk on Chrome Avenue to enter into the Historic City Hall / Town Hall, I saw the sign that said Historic Town Hall, and I thought, uh-oh. And then after taking a look at the documents, I see that this has already been if you will, accepted. It's been the accepted term. So as the maker of the motion, I have no problem whatsoever, if it pleases you, to make it Historic Town Hall. I see that the sign's there. I see that the document's already in order. So if it's the will of the council, I certainly have no problem with it.
It's the council's decision, I know that.
Sure, and
neither do I. I support it, and...
As the original maker of the motion, I have no problem in going back to Historic Town Hall.
Don't we need a motion?
Is there a motion? There's a motion by Councilwoman Bell, second by Councilwoman Walden. Any discussion on...
Right, the correct procedure is to move to reconsider the vote on this item.
I move to
We need to do it in 2 steps.
I move to reconsider the vote on this item.
The properly moved for reconsideration, second by Councilwoman Walden. Comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Now a motion would be in order to rename.
I move that we rename Historic City Hall to Historic Town Hall.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell, second by Councilwoman Waldman. Question?
Quick comment.
Comment by the Vice Mayor.
Now, I'm the one that said it ought to be City Hall rather than Town Hall because I think I've got a pretty good working knowledge of the real history of this community, and I do not believe to this day that any time when it was used as our municipal building that it was ever referred to as Town Hall. That the Town Hall has evolved since City Hall was moved to this site. But having said that, I want to acknowledge that if it weren't for Mrs. Campbell's efforts, that building, whatever you want to call it, would probably not be there today, or would not substantially be there as it exists today, nor would we have the museum. So with the caveat that this Town Hall moniker really didn't evolve until after Hurricane Andrew, when activists took on that project, and in hindsight, calling it Historic Town Hall is going to avoid confusion for newcomers to our community when we have a new City Hall.
Yes, sir.
So, not to be true to history, but to acknowledge the efforts of Mrs. Campbell and the others that have been working with her for many years, I'll support the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you very much.
Now, we have, Mr. Alger.
Yes, I'm Richard Alger, live at 18001 Southwest 285th Street, and I'm the Vice Chair of the Homestead Housing Authority. And I wanted to offer the chance to give some testimony about if you have a workshop about the ordinance that was mentioned at the cow meeting, and let you know the HUD requirements. We have 1,640 vouchers for housing in the Homestead, the Florida City, and north of Homestead. And of course, the Dade County Housing Authority, as well as the City of Miami Housing Authority, also has HUD vouchers and housing, and because we all follow the same rules, and you might be surprised how rigorous the inspection, once a year, the inspection. But I don't want to, if you want us, we'll be glad to give testimony when and if you have a workshop.
There is one scheduled.
Good.
Thank you, sir. We will do that. Good day, Ms. Vice Mayor.
Well, Mr. Alger, I believe there is a workshop scheduled for the 7th.
I was going to announce that in my business, yes.
The 7th?
Yes.
It certainly would
It's
be
August 7th, that's a Monday.
August.
5:30 p.m.
When?
5:30.
5:30.
5:30? Okay. I'm invited?
You're invited.
You're invited.
He's right.
How's everybody doing today? My name is Dennis Robinson. I'm an entrepreneur. My address is 26404 Southwest 134th Avenue, the Ranger, Florida. Basically, I'm here today to tell you all, I like everything that went on today. I enjoyed the leadership, people getting awards for leadership. That's what I'm all about, leadership. And also, use me whenever you want to, because I'm a volunteer. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm willing to volunteer and help out the community. So feel free to use me whenever you want to. I represent the company Tahitian Noni International, and basically we have a product that's helping people with their health and also helping people start up their own business. And what I'm also trying to do is get people like leaders to come together that would really want to start up their own business, want to be financially free, and we all get together and we work on investments and different assets and different type of things that entrepreneurs do, business plans and stuff, and we come up with some things that could help us become financially free. So I want to educate people on, I want to get them financially literate so that they could have, their financial freedom. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Hiram Farmer. I'm a phys ed teacher at Leisure City K-8 Center in Homestead. My address is 813 Southwest 5th Street. Well, that's my old address. I just moved into a new home in Keys Gate, and My new address is 2646 Southeast 21st Court, Unit 203D, Homestead, Florida 33035. The reason I'm here to talk to you, commissioners, tonight is about a community service project that our school, Leisure City, is embarking on. It's a partnership with St. Jude's Children's Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. Just to give you a little background on it, it was founded by Danny Thomas and Marlo Thomas, and it's a hospital for children who are cancer patients whose parents cannot pay for the treatment. And when they're admitted here, all the treatment is free. We have done a community service project with the American Heart Association. A lot of you may be familiar with it. It's called Jump Rope for Heart. Last year we raised close to $1,000. This year we were sent some information from St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And the phys ed staff, I'll just say it this way, we have a vision. And this is our vision. We saw where we raised almost $1,000, and this was basically through the students, the parents, and some of the parents in the community. So we thought it would be a great idea to get the business sector, community leaders, just people who could really get the attention of people by giving. I myself, I've been giving to St. Jude's for some time, and I really started back sometime when I lost a relative to cancer. Since then, I've suffered some close losses. My mother-in-law, my mother to colon cancer 5 years ago. And it's not so much about losing them, it's cancer itself, how it's right now getting the best of a lot of people. I could say losing my mother really kind of hit home with me, and I was making contributions prior to that, but this really touched me. And I spoke with some of, I say Commissioner Hodge. He lives in the district where I was residing, and we've talked about numerous issues. And when I mentioned this to him, he told me it seemed to be a good idea to come and present it. And all I'm asking for is, just your support on it. And it doesn't have to be monetary. Some of the other organizations and groups I spoke to, for example, McDonald's or Walmart, instead of monetary, they issued the opportunity for our school to have a car wash, and all the funds would go to the school. I spoke to some restaurants where they have said that they would donate food. The Nike outlet store has agreed to donate balls with the Nike logo, water bottles, and also the little bracelets here that are very popular. And they should be at the school when the school year starts. I can say that we have gone around, I say the PE department, and thus far about 41 different organizations and groups have either confirmed or they're in the process of checking with their corporate headquarters as far as making donations. So far, I've already received 3 checks, one from I&M Jewels for a total of $75, No Electronics donated $25. And just today, I spoke to attorney Sean P. O'Connor, who made a donation of $100. And this is just 3, and as I said, we have 38 more that are pending. I really can't say much more. As I said, I'm kind of passionate about this because it hit close home to me, and I'm quite sure each one of you has been touched in some form or fashion by someone, a loss, due to cancer. And I say this to people, and I say this in closing. And as I said, I really got involved after losing my mother 5 years ago. And even though she isn't a child who suffered cancer, she was a cancer victim. And I said to myself, well, maybe she didn't see the cure in her lifetime. Maybe I will see it during my time, but even if I don't, I can honestly say that I tried to make a difference. So I just hope that the council members will hear this appeal that we're making. And as I said, it doesn't have to be a monetary donation. You can use your creativity and come up with an idea. I guess the bottom line is just as long as we can say the city of Homestead made a contribution. Thank you.
Thank you.
So could you leave your name and phone number and address with our clerks, please?
Yes.
So we know how to get in touch with you.
Thank you. Any further public comments? Any further? Have business from the city manager.
I just have one thing. The grant for the landfill cleaning was approved in the NLOC committee, and hopefully it's going to commission for tomorrow. Once commission approve it, consultants will start work on the scope services, and we're hoping that we're going to start kicking dirt in September.
And that's for the future Roscoe Warren Park, is that correct?
That's correct.
Very good. Thank you. Is that all?
Okay, that's all.
All right. Councilwoman Garner.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd just like to give some updates on my committees. The Marketing and Public Relations Committees has been diligently meeting. One of our first tasks was to try to improve communications between the residents, and that was the beginning of our CityNet, the newspaper that went out, and we're going to have our next issue in the fall, so it will probably be coming out September. We've been working on that. We've also like to help promote the city's image, and we need a little bit of help with that. So our committee was looking through different ad agencies, and we've decided to start working with Adkins and Associates on some projects. They have 20 years of experience. They've worked with cities like Doral, Miramar, Coral Gables, Dania Beach, and Weston, which all went through phases where they were trying to just let the residents know what a good place it was to live and improve their overall image, which is one thing that we'd like to do. And I'm going to be working with them on some project-to-project basis, but when the budget year starts coming up, we'll have a full presentation for you for the budget for the fiscal year. You'll be getting more information on that, but I'd like you to know we are working on that, and we'll be bringing you more information. From the Code Committee, last Committee of the Whole, we said that we'd like to do a workshop, and that's for the business licensing for rental units that Mr. Audra was referring to. That meeting is a public meeting. We'd like you to attend. It will be Monday, August 7th at 5:30 p.m. here in Council Chambers. We'll have more information provided for you, comparisons to other cities, some information that Council requested, and we would like the public to attend. Anyone who has possibly that rents, lives in a rental area, anyone who has any input they'd like to give us, we'd like you to be here in this open meeting, 5:30, August 7th. Thank you.
No?
That's it.
Mr. Hodge?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I got word that the street naming project is moving right along, and recently just came up with a creative idea, was to ask that each council member would jot down some names that they would like to make sure it goes on the list, to submit it to Patty, and she'll get it to me, and I plan on being at the next Human Relations Board meeting, so we can discuss it and try and speed along the process. And that's all I have, Vice Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd add, Mr. Hodge, that hey, we need to be sure to get in touch with former Mayor Sincor. He was a wealth of historical knowledge, and I know that was one of the things he wanted to continue on, as his generation of Homestead natives dies out, that he would be a real asset to have some input as to who lived where and what would be appropriate. So, Mr. Porter, if you can make sure that Mr. Sincor gets in touch with Mr. Hodge or that group, that would be very helpful. Last week I had the opportunity, the privilege, I might say, to be the guest speaker at the ribbon cutting at the First United Methodist Christian Schools complete celebration of the completion of the new classroom buildings. We have a 53-year history there of preschool and kindergarten education, and now are becoming part of the vast patchwork of further educational opportunities and moving into the elementary education arena. It was just a wonderful event. Councilwoman Bell also attended, and it was very moving and very gratifying to see the speed at which that progressed. I think it just seemed like yesterday that we were all out there at the old ceremonial groundbreaking for that facility, and it was really quite good to see that up and ready for opening with a record 192 students for this coming school year to help round out the educational opportunities in our community. Also want to commend, and maybe at a future council meeting we can have her attend. I don't think that we took the opportunity to recognize our Miss Homestead delegate, Danielle Mortimer, who served this community well and represented us well at the Miss Florida pageant a couple weeks ago, and when she finished, she was the 5th place finisher in a field of, I think, about 40 young ladies. And I will tell you that over the last couple of years, a couple of girls who've worn the crown of Miss Homestead have come very close to becoming Miss Florida, and I think that's not only a credit to the caliber of the young ladies in this community, but to that Homestead pageant committee as well, those ladies in this community who really dedicate full time to training those girls and assisting them and taking them through the scholarship pageant progress. And I hope that sometime, as things get back to normal after summer, that we can have those ladies as well as Danielle here to recognize her before she ends her reign as the current Miss Homestead. I want to thank the police department and commend the mayor's office and the police department for the community policing event that took place this weekend out at Portofino Oaks. It was very good to meet the scores of residents who came through the program. Mr. Porter and Ms. Garner and I had the opportunity to meet with many of them, and it's really gratifying to see and hear that although they are not here in the audience every week or every meeting or every other week, they're watching, they're paying attention, they're reading the newspaper, they're checking the internet, they're watching our meetings, they know what's going on, and they're interested and very complimentary by and large of the efforts that we have pending and where we've been and where we all hope to go. They were all up on the details of the mayor's State of the City address, and we're very active in making inquiries to the progress of some of those initiatives that were proposed. In that regard, Mayor, one of the items you threw my way was to begin working on the reestablishment at Homestead of some sort of court facility. And I will tell you that, as we've seen here tonight, those judges who seek to be reelected and those who seek to be elected judge are fully in support of the establishment of some sort of facility here. They all come to Homestead, even perhaps for the first time in just a year, and are astounded at the growth here. Clearly see that type of facility is needed system-wide and justified for our community. I think, though, that as those who seek the office of Attorney General cycle through our community and attempt to garner our support, they need to know that we need their support state-level budget processes in the coming legislative session, when we'll have a new governor, a new cabinet, and at least a new attorney general, that this community needs some sort of, at least the beginning stages of some sort of court facility, but the support and the recognition is out there. Finally, I want to talk about that we are nearly halfway through what I believe our charter review topics and issues will be. I want to commend all of those who served on the committee with me. A few are here in the audience, and some have already departed tonight. A very diverse and hardworking and very vocal group, and really making headway very rapidly. Certainly 5 years ago we made the sweeping changes in the overhaul, and that took quite a bit of time. We're doing the fine-tuning now, and although the votes are by far not unanimous, they're well-reasoned, and I'm looking forward to bringing those proposals out into the community and before council. And I would invite each and every one of you here and watching tonight, as well as my fellow council members, to join us for our meetings. They are public meetings, they are publicly noticed meetings, and we welcome your input at any one of them at 8 o'clock in the morning. With that, Mayor, that concludes my business. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. You had mentioned, Mr. Vice Mayor, a couple of weeks ago about the architect and seeing whether he could probably bring forth some design. Could you double check and see when that department?
Kurt, Mr. Ivey mentioned something to me at the end of last week, at the end of another meeting, and I think he was going to do some follow-up so that we can have some schematics before us and before the public in the very near future. Absolutely.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Councilman Porter?
Very briefly, Mayor, just there was some questions raised about some of the issues that we've been not debating, but discussing over the last series of months, and transportation being one of them. It hasn't been something that we've had on the table in a few months, because the issues are certainly not being avoided. They are very diligently being worked on behind the scenes. The staff is still working with the development community, and specifically with the one project, the Homestead Pavilion, that we ran into our biggest hurdle with, but just because it hasn't been discussed tremendously amount of time publicly, it certainly hasn't gone on at the staff level behind the scenes, not being talked about. So just so the council is assured. Also, I have to agree with Mr. Lossner's comments and commend the police department. As bad as it could be, or as bad as it may be perceived to be, it could be a whole lot worse if the Homestead Police Department did not do the community policing effort that it is currently undertaking, and going out and physically getting to understand the communities, understand the residents, look at the needs of the community, and then reacting to those needs. I will say that we are very, very fortunate as a community to have the effort and the effort of the officers to not just sit and wait for something to happen. They've gone out and addressed it proactively, and I think that they have done a yeoman's job. And this community policing effort that we've been able to attend has shown that, and it's building wonderful relationships with those newer citizens, newer residents in this community. And I'm very grateful to the police chief and to the staff for what they do. And it's very difficult. It's very easy to come up and complain all the time. I know there was comments about the schools, and there's certainly been a tremendous amount of work done in the schools, and the light is at the end of the tunnel, and we are definitely in the process. So please stay tuned. We will continue to update you on the positive things that are going on, and certainly there are a lot of them going on. And we will see the pavilion project back in front of us in a very short period of time, and you will be able to see the numerous amount of opportunities that we have to fix some of the transportation hurdles, specifically in the Camel Drive corridor. And I believe we will all be pleased. It will be different, but we will be pleased. Traffic is a situation that I think the entire county is dealing with, and we are dealing with it just as significantly. But we do have a plan, and I do believe we have a solution for better flows. We've already started with the signalization, and the mayor, we brought that forward about a month ago, 3 weeks ago. US 1 corridor we took a look at. I think there's been significant improvement. Could probably be better. but it's an ongoing battle with the county to get some support. If anybody does, have a specific issue, please point it out to staff or council members, and we will try. We've been trying to get a turn signal on 15th Street and US 1 for 8 years that I'm aware of, and we still haven't gotten one. So it's still on the radar screen. Every new council person that gets on, we all take a swing at it, and so far we've all not been able to produce it. So just a little positive information. I mean, we're not sitting up here on our hands and not doing anything. And just because we don't talk about it every night doesn't mean that it's not being addressed. So please stay tuned, Mayor, and I thank you very much for the comments, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Councilman Roman.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. It's been a while since we've had a council meeting, so I just wanted to mention our 4th of July festivities. They were fabulous. I want to especially thank the Homestead South Dade News Leader and the Miami Herald for the coverage, because we guesstimate, Kurt and I were trying to guesstimate how many people were actually there, parked on the streets and in the parking lot. And we're guesstimating 20 to 25,000 people. Now that's a lot of people, and that's a positive thing. That's a really wonderful thing. The fireworks were better than ever. Took my breath away. The band, they were terrific. They never stopped playing. I mean, they took short little breaks, and I couldn't believe that they were able to rest as long as they did in the heat. So I want to thank the Parks Department, Parks and Recs, Public Works, the police officers, just everybody that had a hand in helping us pull that off, and thank you, God, for not letting it rain. I mean, it was just, it was a wonderful, wonderful night. I also want to report on the Greenway Trailway workshop that we had at the community college. I want to thank the mayor for coming. I was shocked. There were over 150 people there, and it was amazing. And we have everybody on board from Washington to Tallahassee to Dade County, plus every organization in between, Biscayne National Park, Everglades National Park. I got a little chuckle because when Dan Kimball talked, he referred to me as something I've never been referred to before. He called me an enzyme. He said it's a little thing that just keeps working our way up there. So I'm very, very thrilled. And I told him I was going to say that. So I'm just thrilled at the support. And I want to thank both papers again. Ellie, both of you, Mike and Ellie, you've been terrific about this, and the positive energy, it helps, and it will happen. You're going to be hearing some information from me in the upcoming months on bicycle communities. I'm hoping environmentally that, especially with the new busway and the trailway, that, and Mr. Vice Mayor, this is news for you too, I'm hoping that with the new City Hall that we could provide some lockers and some racks, for bicycles, so that we can encourage more people to ride their bicycles to work throughout the community. I've been doing quite a bit of research. I've just given Patty some information on it. It's amazing how these cities have just turned around, and I think that, especially with our weather during the winter, that we could do something like that. So you'll be hearing more about that in the months to come. Excuse me. Mayor Warren had asked me to serve on the elected officials pension board. We've been doing that. We've had a couple meetings since his State of the City address. I'll be giving you a report on that later on. Doing some housekeeping in that committee. Parks and Recs, I'm very proud to say that we're going to be taking 80 children from Roby George Park to the YMCA for swimming lessons. And these are kids who've never had a swimming lesson, and they don't know how to swim. So we've been able to arrange with the YMCA for these 80 children to have the swimming lessons this summer. So I'm very proud of our Parks and Recs department for making that happen. Mastrada Park is almost finished. We're going to be opening up very soon. Very soon. I've been saying that for a couple months, but very soon, right, Kurt? very soon. And Audubon Park, we're ready to begin on that, and we'll be working towards going ahead and finishing up according to our master plan for Audubon Park. Our baseball and softball leagues are going strong. The fields are good. We've had a lot of compliments. I just can't believe how hard this Parks and Recs department has worked in the last year and a half. I had a workshop on the baseball stadium, and because of the 93 agreement and things that are in the 93 agreement and the negotiations that are going on, we had to put any more talk about that off. I will be having a special call meeting next week. I'm not sure of the date. It'll be probably either the 24th or the 25th, and at that time we'll make a decision once and for all as to whether or not to sell the baseball stadium. I just had meetings with Marlene late this afternoon to decide that. At that time, at the special call meeting, we'll also be voting on the internal auditor position. So just so you know, that'll be going on at that meeting as well. Beautification, I've had several calls this week. Thank you, Captain Chong. Thank you so much. I mean, he was great. You know, he came forth and helped me discover the names of the people with the houses that had the overgrown yards, and I really want to thank code enforcement. Thank you so much. And also I want to thank you for tackling the cars and trucks that are parked along the swells and outside of community gates. It's just not the right thing to do, and I know I'm bombarded with phone calls every weekend with this, and I didn't even call you on that, and I saw you out there taking care of it, so thank you so much for that. If you don't think this code enforcement is working, you're wrong, because they're out there. And one other little problem are all those for sales and for rents, you know, that we did such a great cleanup of it, but I noticed they're getting back out there, you know, so thank you so much for all that you do. And the Seminole Theater project, I was keeping this a secret, but since Katie Sorensen announced it at a meeting that I was at, we have approximately $2 million that will be pledged to us from Dade County for our Seminole Theater restoration. It's just a portion of what I need to make it happen, but I have many more sources and we're working diligently on it. But that's huge. That's huge, $2 million. So thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Roman. I don't think I've missed anybody.
What's her name?
Councilwoman Bell.
I think there's a trend. It started with the mayor's State of the City address when he forgot to announce me. So how could you forget me, Mayor? Then I went to the ribbon cutting ceremony at the Methodist school. And by the way, I was very impressed with how quickly they got this done. It seems like they were sitting in my office and we were talking about the project, and then we were doing the groundbreaking, and then we were doing the ribbon cutting. So I was very pleased to be there. But we go there, and I was sitting there with my scissors, and they forgot to call me up to cut the ribbon. But then they remembered, of course, before the ribbon was cut. So I went up there. Then the other night, I went to the Historic Town Hall Museum for the summer lecture series presentation on Pan Am with Pan Am memorabilia, and that was really wonderful. And I was called Councilwoman Brown. Wanda Brown something. So that was 3 in a row, and I thought, I'm seeing a trend here, and I'm not sure what to make of it, but you got to have a good sense of humor about it.
You need to ring the bell.
It started with you. I want you to know, the committee of the whole meeting following the mayor forgetting to announce me, I wore a sign on my chest that had my name on it, and I think I'll make it a permanent fixture for whenever I go out. I have good news for the City of Homestead school accountability grades. Redondo, the only school that went down 1 letter grade was Redondo Elementary School, and it went from an A to a B. And I'm not sure, I don't know exactly why, but that's the only negative news in the entire city schools. West Homestead Elementary went from a D to a B. They have been a consistent D with 1 year being a C, and they are now a B at West Homestead Elementary School. That is phenomenal. Let's give them a hand. Also, Laura C. Saunders Elementary School went from an F, 2 C's, and they went to a B. Campbell Drive Middle School has gone from a D 2 years in a row to a C. Homestead Middle School is a B, and Homestead Senior went from an F to a D. So this is marked improvement, and I know Homestead Senior is really setting their sights higher, and I know Homestead Senior, we're really striving for Homestead Senior to actually achieve to a B. This year we'll take a C, and then we're going for that B. But I'm very, very proud of our city schools, and I know this relates directly to the strong implementation of Rudy Crew. He is one tough cookie, and he is just a no-nonsense, and he has really been implementing his plan on bringing these schools up down here in the South. And I no longer feel like the South is the stepchild of the county, if you will, as far as the school board. We are getting the attention that we deserve and that we need. So I'm very proud of our schools, and I can't wait to share this with the Education Committee, so I'm very, very proud of them. Enjoyed the summer lecture series at our downtown historic hall, and Mr. Losner was absolutely right. He said city, and I just said as long as it doesn't say old. Historic, but not old. We also had a groundbreaking ceremony with the neighborhood housing services. Went very, very well in the Southwest and CRA area. Also, this past Saturday, the Kids Hope United had their health fair, and this was the culmination and the ending of the backpack project, where the kids, the foster children within Kids Hope United, were all presented with the backpack. But in order to get their backpack, they had to go through the health fair, if you will, and it was about their physical selves, all about nutrition, proper eating, and then before they got their backpack, they had to go through each station, and then in the very end, they got their backpack. Instead of a bunch of junk food, there was healthy food, granola, fruits. So it's a really wonderful, wonderful, worthy organization, Kids Hope United, with our foster children. So I was very pleased to be there as well. I had my very first work day. I announced about a month or so ago that I was going to be doing a once-a-month work day within the city of Homestead, and I was going to be visiting at least one department a month and then writing an article about that. Well, I had my first work day with Public Works. Thank you, Julio, for my work day. And I got to climb all along our wastewater treatment facility and climb up and walk along the grid and see the process of cleaning our water up from coming in to not so nice coming in to putting very, very clean water back in the ground, as well as go over to Whitcott Park and take a look at the housing of our wells, as well as our water treatment facility, and climbed up the tower inside. That was quite interesting, as well as going and visiting our the sanitation department and all that they do. And I learned the cost of disposal of tires and how many tires we pick up. We talked about illegal dumping and how we are working very hard on that, the Adopt a Road program. I was also pleased to learn that we get about $1 million per year in the half-penny transportation sales tax. So we reap about $1 million a year, and so I was able to look at some of the equipment that has been purchased by that. And one of the newest pieces that we have over there is the new camera truck, and how wonderful the new camera truck is, and it really saves the city a tremendous amount of money on locating cracks, which result in water leaks, which resulted in overburdening of our wastewater treatment facility as well. And knowing that we have a street sweeper working 7 days a week, 24/7. So it was very, very interesting, and so Patty and I will be working on the very next department that I will be visiting. So I'll be visiting every single department in the city of Homestead, and I also I'm going to plan on visiting some local community businesses as well. And that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Make sure they remember your name.
I remember my name. It's other people having a problem.
Well, typically by the time they get to me, everybody have said what I wanted to say, but this is the first opportunity I've had to really thank the staff, and more importantly, thank Patty Sullivan for the tremendous effort with the State of the City address. It's always a time that I have an opportunity to really share with the community, not only with the work of the elected officials, but the work of the staff. And it went extremely well. It was well organized, well planned. I think the location was beautiful. And I just want to say thanks to City Manager Ivy and his team, and especially to Patty for making it happen. So thank you all so very much. And I hope that each of the council members got a picture, an official picture for the state of the city. It's going to be a tradition now that we will do that every year. And I just want to thank all of you for being able to be there that day. It was something to be very proud of. And I was very proud of the staff and certainly proud of my colleagues here for their contribution. Thank you all very much and have a good evening.